But I find it simplest to illustrate it by hearing without comment, so that you can get into tune with what is. You can't really get out of tune with it, but we don't know that yet. Maybe some of you do.
Hello and welcome back to the show, Trucking Tendencies. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the support. And please go subscribe to the YouTube page. I'm spending money on the stickers. So I guess I have to... Like I told this bartender yesterday, I told him that I don't like telling people what to do. But you kind of have to direct people sometimes. And I'm not a director, that's why I'm kind of a truck driver. But this one is this is the boring one. No one's gonna like this one. I don't know who will, but it's kind of like a free audio book. So I'm gonna do this by sections. This is the table of contents for the commercial driver handbook from the California, what is this called? The California thing. The California booklet, pamphlet to study to get your permit. Should I start with the introduction? I guess I'll read the entire section 1, introduction for one podcast, and then section 2, driving safely. Section 3, transporting cargo safely. Section 4, transporting passengers safely. Actually, I'm going to skip some of these. I'm going to skip section 4 because I'm not doing buses. Section 5 is air brakes. Section 6 is combination vehicles. Section 7 is doubles and triples. Section 8 is tank vehicles. Section 9, hazardous materials. Section 10, school buses. Section 11, vehicle inspections test. And Section 12, basic control skills test. And then Section 13, road test. How you will be tested. So, again, this is the boring one, but let's get into it. Hopefully I don't get interrupted. So, this section covers CDL test, medical documentation requirements, CDL disqualifications, other CDL rules, international registration plan, and international fuel tax agreement. So, this is a federal requirement that each state have minimum standards for licensing of commercial drivers. The California Commercial Motor Vehicle Safety Program was enacted to improve traffic safety on our roadways. As a result, California has developed licensing and testing requirements for drivers of commercial vehicles that equal or exceeds federal standards. This handbook provides driver license DL testing information for drivers who wish to have a commercial learner's permit, commercial driver's license. This handbook does not provide information on all the federal and state requirements needed before you can drive a commercial motor vehicle. More information may be found in Title 49 Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, or California Vehicle Code. So, who needs a CDL? You must have a CDL to operate, these are bullet points, a single vehicle with a gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 pounds or more. A combination of vehicles with a gross combination weight rating of 26,001 pounds or more. So that's a GVWR of 26,001 pounds. That's a GCWR of 26,001 pounds. A vehicle designed, used, or maintained for carrying more than 10 passengers, including the driver. A 3-axle vehicle weighing more than 6,000 pounds. Those are all the bullet points. There's 4 bullet points. So you must have a CDL when towing a vehicle or trailer combination which has a gross vehicle weight rating of 10,000 pounds pounds or more, transporting hazardous materials, hazmat, which require placards, transporting hazmat as defined in California Health and Safety Code, CHCS 25115 and 25117. And last bullet point is towing any combination of two trailers or vehicle and trailer. Horse trailers with living quarters and gross vehicle weight rating over 10,000 pounds require a commercial class A DL. And restriction 88 will be added to the DL if the truck and trailer gross combination weight rating is under 26,001 pounds. So, restriction 88, restricted to combination vehicles with a gross combination weight rating of less than 26,001 pounds, and the GVWR of the vehicle being towed is in excess of 10,000 pounds. Horse trailers are defined as property carrying vehicles, and the addition of living quarters to a trailer does not permanently alter the vehicle for human habitation. The living quarters or in parentheses, are secondary or incidental to the primary function of the vehicle, which is transporting property. How to get a CLP CDL. A commercial learner's permit, CLP, the commercial instruction permit has been renamed CLP to comply with federal regulations. The CLP bullet points are: applicant must be at least 18 years of age. Second bullet point, will not be issued to an applicant until they have obtained a valid California DL that at minimum allows the applicant to operate a non-commercial Class C motor vehicle. A temporary California DL is acceptable. So you need to get your DL first, or temporary California DL is acceptable. Third bullet point is only valid when accompanied by the CLP holder's valid California DL. Fourth bullet point, will be valid for a maximum of 180 days from the date of issuance and may be renewed for up to an additional 180 days provided the CLP expiration date does not exceed a period of 1 year from the initial application date. Next bullet point is limited to the following endorsements: tank, passenger, and school bus. Next bullet point, holder with an N endorsement is prohibited from operating a tank vehicle unless the tank is empty. The tank must be purged if it previously contained hazmat. Next bullet point, holder with a P endorsement and or S endorsement is prohibited from operating a CMV with passengers other than federal/state auditors and inspectors, test examiners, other trainees, and accompanying CDL holder. Next bullet point, holder must wait a minimum of 14 days, 2 weeks, after initial CLP issuance to be eligible to take the skills test. The 14-day waiting period applies to classification upgrades and endorsement restrictions, changes that require a skills test. Holder must be accompanied by a CDL holder while operating a CMV. The CDL holder must possess the appropriate class CDL and endorsements necessary to operate the CMV. Next bullet point, holder must surrender their CLP or DL and DL to DMV prior to being issued a CDL. Applicants applying for a CDL. Must be 18 years of age, must obtain a California non-commercial Class C DL, a temporary/interim DL is acceptable. The DL must be carried to validate the CLP CFR title 49383 blah blah blah. Next bullet point, may drive for hire within California if you are 18 years of age or older and do not engage in interstate commerce activities. Next bullet point, last bullet point, must be at least 21 years old to drive a commercial vehicle engaged in interstate commerce or transport hazmat or waste, intrastate and interstate commerce. So, providing the following items, which are 4 bullet points: a completed commercial driver license application, DL44C form, the EDL44C may be completed online in advance. Signing this form means you agree to submit to a chemical test to determine the alcohol and drug content of your blood when requested by a peace officer. If you refuse to sign this form, the Department of Motor Vehicles will not issue or renew your DL. Bullet point, your true full name. Bullet point, approved medicals. See section 1.2. Bullet point, an acceptable identity, birth date, legal presence document. All applicants for an original, renewal, upgrade, or transfer of their CLP CDL must submit proof of legal presence in the U.S. as authorized under federal law. If the name on your identity document is different from the name on your CDL application, you must also submit an acceptable true full name document. Your true full name as shown on your identity document will appear on your CLP CDL. An acceptable identity or true full name document is produced by an issuing authority, for example, county, state, etc. This document is a certified copy of the original. The original is always retained by the issuing authority and contains an impressed seal or original stamped impression. The certified copy will be returned to you. If you make a copy of the certified copy, DMV will not accept it for identity verification. For more information on acceptable identity documents, visit dmv.ca.gov or call the lovely phone number that nobody ever answers of 1-800-777-0133. No, but it's actually quicker. They've actually figured out how to refine and filter out people that don't really need to be calling. And the DMVs right now, as of 2024, the middle of 2024, are much quicker too. So, fees subject to legislative change each January 1st. Fees shown are effective January 1st, 2020. See dmv.ca.gov for current fees. So, if the class of license is a commercial class A or B, these are all the prices, and application type is, the fee is, so an original without a driving test is $82. The renewal is $48. A commercial driving or skill retest is $37. A duplicate license, replacement license, is $36. A name change to remove a restriction imposed due to a vehicle size or equipment DT return, $82. An endorsement other than PV is $48. Add a passenger transport endorsement is $82. A non-commercial Class A or to a Class B, so your downgrading is going to cost you $37. Add a motorcycle license is $48. I tried it, but I never actually went through, but I got my permit. Add a firefighter endorsement is $30. I wonder if I should do that. But an original with, so commercial Class C. An original with or without driving test is $48. A renewal is $48. An upgrade to remove an air brake restriction is $48. To add an endorsement not requiring a driver test is $48. To add a motorcycle license is $48. To add a firefighter endorsement is $30. Excuse me. A commercial driving test skill retest is $37. A duplicate is $36. A name change is $30. So let's continue. Oh, these are more documents. Residency. A California driver must provide one document as proof of California residence for original and upon each renewal, transfer, or upgrade. The address on the residency document must match the resident address on the DL 44C. For more information on acceptable residency documents or Real ID compliant CLP CDL, visit the website or call again. Provide proof of your Social Security number. Your Social Security number, SSN, will be verified with the Social Security Administration while you are in the office. For more information on Social Security documents, visit the website or call that number again. Note, if you are applying for an original CDL, a Social Security card is the only acceptable proof of SSN. So, a certificate of driving skill. A certificate of driving skill, DL 170 form. If your employer is authorized by the DMV to issue such certificate, both you and your employer must sign this form. The application fee. This fee is good for 12 months from the application date. The CLP is good for a maximum of 180 days and may be renewed for an additional 180 days without retaking the knowledge test, provided the expiration date of the CLP does not exceed a period of 1 year from the application date. Scores for past segments of the skill test are only valid during the initial issuance first 180 days of the CLP. Past segments, like you passed the test, segments of the skills test, vehicle inspection, basic control skills, and road test must be retaken if the CLP is renewed. You are allowed 3 attempts to pass the knowledge test and a total of 3 attempts to pass the entire skills test on a single application. If you fail any knowledge test, there is not a waiting period to retake. If you fail any segment of the skills test, vehicle inspection, basic control skills test, or road test, it will count as one failure towards the maximum 3 attempts you are allowed. Example. Here's an example. Failing the vehicle inspection, basic control skills, and road tests count as a 3-time failure or any failure combination equaling 3. However, if you are required to take the skills test for separate types of vehicle, Class A or passenger transport vehicle, you are allowed 3 skill test attempts for the Class A vehicle and 3 skill test attempts for the passenger transport vehicle. If you fail the basic skills test or the road test, there will be a retest fee charged upon your return to take the subsequent test. There is not a waiting period to retake basic control skills test. Additional requirements. All commercial vehicle drivers must 8 bullet points, be a California resident before applying for a California CLP CDL. Next bullet point, disclose all states in which they were previously licensed during the past 10 years and surrender all out-of-state DLs, current or expired, if any. Certify that they do not have a DL from more than one state or country. Next bullet point, self-certify what type of commercial commerce you expect to operate. Next bullet point, notify their home state DMV of any conviction which occurred in other states within 30 days of the conviction. Next bullet point, notify their employer of any conviction within 30 days of the conviction using the report of out-of-state traffic conviction by a commercial driver, form DL 535. Notify their employer of any revocation, suspension, cancellation, or disqualification before the end of the business day following the action. Next bullet point, last bullet point, give their employer a 10-year employment history of commercial driving if applying for a job as a driver. So next on to endorsements. A special endorsement is also required to drive the following types of vehicles. The endorsement shows as a single letter on the DL. Bullet point, placarded or marked vehicles transporting hazmat or waste is H. Any driver regardless of the vehicle class A, B, or C who wants to haul any material that has been designated as hazardous under 49 United States Code 5103 and is required to be placarded under CFR Title 49 172 Subpart F, or any quantity of a material listed as a selected agent or toxin CFR Title 42 subsection 73 must add an H endorsement to their CDL. They must pass a special knowledge examination on how to recognize, handle, and transport hazmat. Note: applicants who apply for an original Class C CDL with the H endorsement are required to complete the skills test. The Transportation Security Administration and U.S. Department of Transportation (DOT) require background checks on commercial drivers who are certified to transport hazmat. The background checks include a review of criminal, immigration, and FBI records. If the driver is found to represent a security threat, TSA will notify the person and the state will deny issuance of an endorsement. That's true. I got my hazmat and they do it. You have to pay another fee and another, I think it's like 3 year, maybe 2 years, and then up to 5 year or 6 years that you have to renew it. I don't know, but they send you a TWIC card. It's something to enter. It does a background check on you, so you're able to enter ports, and it's also an extra fee on top of. I forgot what the fee was, but it's more. It does include more money to get this TSA clearance check. But it's cool. Like, it gives you a peace of mind, whenever you get shaken down or something like at an airport, like you should be clearing everything without no issue or no doubt from TSA at airports, I think. But that's just an opinion. So, tank vehicles, including a cement truck. N is the letter. Drivers of any CMV that is designed to transport any liquid or gaseous materials within a tank or tanks having an individual rated capacity of more than 119 gallons and an aggregate rated capacity of 1,000 gallons or more that is either permanently or temporarily attached to the vehicle or the chassis must add an N endorsement to their CLP CDL. A CMV transporting an empty storage container tank not designed for transportation with a rated capacity of 1,000 gallons or more that is temporarily attached to a flatbed trailer is not considered a tank vehicle. The endorsement applies to applicants who wish to drive a tank in Class A, B, or C CDL. Liquids in bulk cause driving control problems because the cargo is heavy, prone to shifting, and has a higher center of gravity. These drivers must pass a special knowledge examination on the problems posed by large volume liquid cargoes to add the endorsement to their CLP CDL. Note: applicants applying for an original Class C CDL with an N endorsement are required to complete the skills test. Next bullet point, passengers transport vehicles. P is the letter. Drivers who want to drive a vehicle having a design capacity to carry 10 or more people, including the driver, must add a P endorsement to their CLP CDL. They must pass a special knowledge test examination on safety considerations when transporting passengers and must pass skills test to a passenger vehicle. The endorsement applies to applicants who want to drive a bus in any Class A, B, or C CDL. Note: applicants applying for a P endorsement are required to complete the skills test. School bus. S is the letter. Drivers who want to drive a school bus must add an S endorsement to their CLP CDL. They must pass a special knowledge examination on safety considerations when transporting passengers in a school bus and must pass skills tests in a school bus. The endorsement applies to applicants who wish to drive a school bus in any Class A, B, CDL. Double, triple combinations. T is the letter. Many drivers who are qualified to drive Class A CDL may want to pull double or triple trailers. Research shows that considerable additional knowledge and skill is necessary to safely pull double and triple trailers in various traffic conditions and driving environments. Consequently, adding the T endorsement and to drive a Class A CDL is necessary if wanting to pull double or triple trailers. The CDL holder must pass a special knowledge test examination on the problems associated with pulling multiple trailers. Important: triple trailers are not legal in California. And a quick reminder, I'm sure they're going to say, I know for sure hazmat, if you pull a hazmat load, you lose your license, or it's a criminal offense, and it goes on your record. But I'm not sure if you don't have your endorsement and you haul a double or triple, you're going to get some sort of citation or ticket for sure. So, tank vehicles transporting hazardous materials or waste is X endorsement. X letter. Hazardous waste must meet the definition of CVC subsection 353 and 15278. Drivers of a tank vehicle who haul hazmat or waste in amounts requiring placards must add an X endorsement to their CDL to show that they passed a special knowledge examinations for both tank vehicles and hazmat. Firefighter. F is a letter required for the operation of firefighting equipment. Not required but optional for Class A, B CDL holders. Restrictions. Restrictions may be added to a CLP CDL based upon the types of vehicle and equipment that the driver uses for the skills test. There are 10 standardized restriction codes. We'll get into these. So, if a CLP is issued with a P or S, an endorsement, it must also contain a restriction. P, no passenger in a CMV bus restriction. That made no sense. If a CLP is issued with an endorsement, it must also contain a restriction X, no cargo in a CMV tank vehicle, I guess. So number 1 is E, no manual transmission is the letter for no manual transmission. If an applicant performs the skill test in a vehicle equipped with an automatic transmission, the DMV must indicate on the CDL, if issued, that the person is restricted from operating a CMV equipped with a manual transmission. For the purpose of the skills test, and restriction, an automatic transmission includes any transmission not operating fully on the gear shift and clutch principle. 2. K is the letter for intrastate only. If an applicant certifies their status as either non-accepted intrastate NA or accepted intrastate EA, the state must indicate on the CDL, if issued, that the person is restricted from operating CMV in interstate commerce. State may impose this restriction for reasons other than those specified above. Number 3, L is the letter, no air brake equipped CMV. If an applicant does not take or fails their air brake component of the knowledge test or performs the skill test in a vehicle not equipped with air brakes, DMV must indicate on the CLP or CDL, if issued, that the person is restricted from operating a CMV equipped with any type of air brakes. For the purpose of the skills test and restrictions, air brakes include any braking system operated fully or partially on the air brake principle. Number 4, M, no Class A passenger vehicle. If an applicant applying for a P endorsement performs a skill test in a passenger vehicle requiring Class B CDL, DMV must indicate on the CDL, if issued, that the person is restricted from operating a passenger vehicle requiring a Class A CDL. Number 5, the letter N, Nancy. No Class A or B passenger vehicle. If an applicant applying for a P endorsement performs a skill test in a passenger vehicle requiring a Class C CDL, DMV must indicate on the CDL, if issued, that the person is restricted from operating a passenger vehicle requiring a Class A or B CDL. O. No tractor trailer CMV. If an applicant performs a skill test in a combination vehicle for a Class A CDL with the power unit and a towed unit connected with a pintle hook or other non-fifth wheel connection, DMV must indicate on the CDL, if issued, that the person is restricted from operating a tractor-trailer combination connected by a fifth wheel that requires a Class A CDL. An applicant who passes a skills test using a combination vehicle that is not a tractor-trailer, tractor-semi-trailer combination, but is otherwise equipped with a fifth wheel, will be issued a CDL with a restriction O. 7. P. The letters P. No passenger in CMV bus. A CLP holder with a P endorsement is prohibited from operating a CMV carrying passengers other than federal, state auditors, and inspectors. This examiner, other trainees, and CDL holders accompanying the CLP holder is prescribed by CFR Title 49, subsection 383, blah, 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 of this part. S. A CLP holder with an S endorsement is prohibited from operating a school bus with the passengers other than federal, state auditors, inspectors, test examiners, or other trainees, and CDL holders accompanying the CLP holder, as prescribed CFR Title 49, subsection 383. Number 8, V. Valerie. Medical variance. If DMV is notified according to CFR Title 49, 383, blah, 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 that the driver has been issued a medical variance, DMV must indicate that the existence of such a medical variance on the Commercial Driver License Information System, CDLIS, driver record, and the CDL document if issued using restriction V. Number 9 is X. No cargo in CMV tank vehicle. A CLP holder with an N endorsement may only operate an empty tank vehicle and is prohibited from operating any tank vehicle that previously contained hazmat that has not been purged of any residue. 10. Z. So no full air brake equipped vehicle. If an applicant performs the skill test in a vehicle equipped with air over hydraulic brakes, DMV must indicate that the CDL, if issued, that the person is restricted from operating a CMV equipped with any braking system operating fully on the air brake principle. For the purpose of the skills test and restriction, air over hydraulic brakes and includes any braking system operating partially on the air brakes and partially on the hydraulic brake principle. CDL exceptions. Exceptions to the CDL requirements are: bullet point, drivers exempt under CHSS 20 subsection 25163. Next bullet point, drivers operating a vehicle in an emergency situation and at the direction of a peace officer. Next bullet point, driver who tow a fifth wheel travel trailer over 15,000 pounds GVWR or a trailer coach over 10,000 pounds GVWR when the towing is not for compensation. Driver must have a non-commercial Class A DL. Next bullet point, driver of house cars over 40 feet but not over 45 feet with endorsement. Next bullet point, non-civilian military personnel drivers operating military vehicles. Next bullet point, implement of husbandry operators who are not required to have a DL. No idea what that is. And last bullet point is van pool drivers. Those are the exceptions. Special certificates. Special certificates may sometimes be required in addition to a CDL depending on the type of vehicle or load carried. Note: it is unlawful to drive a school bus or transit vehicle while using a wireless cell phone for non-work purposes. Emergency calls to law enforcement, a health care provider, fire department, or other emergency services are permitted. That's the only time I pick up my phone, is when I'm calling the highway patrol or 911 and there's an emergency on the road. I guess that's acceptable. I didn't know before, but I guess I do now. I guess you could do that. Applying at a DMV field office or for the following certificates: ambulance driver certificate, hazardous agricultural material certificate. I am not going to read over that. So, I think I'm almost done. I am not even almost done. Oh my gosh! I read slow as hell. Should I keep going? Wait, I'm done, right? I am not. Oh my gosh. So, determining class of CDL required. It's a graph. It's a figure 1-1.1. So, verification VTT document requires drivers. So, verification of transit training VTT document requirement requires drivers of transit bus vehicles to comply with the specific training requirements. Transit bus vehicles provide the public with regularly scheduled transportation for which a fare is charged. Does not include general public paratransit vehicles. Drivers who have a school bus driver certificate or school pupil activity bus certificate do not need a VTT. Apply at CHP offices for the following certificates. I'm going to skim through these. So, general public paratransit vehicle GPPV certificate, school bus driver certificate, school pupil activity bus certificate SPAB, farm labor vehicle certificate. Note: the driver and all passengers in a farm labor vehicle are required to use seatbelts. The youth bus certificate, the tow truck driver certificate, vehicle for developmentally disabled persons, VDDP, general. To get a CDL, you must pass both the knowledge and skills test. This handbook is designed to help you pass the test. This handbook is not a substitute for a truck driver training class or program. Formal training is the most reliable way to learn the many special skills required for safely driving a large CMV and becoming a professional driver in the trucking industry. Figure 1.1 will help you determine if you need a CDL. And again, yes, it's just like a graph, like a trickle-down tree. Let's keep going. CDL test. 1.1 of this. So, knowledge test. 1.1.1 knowledge test. The commercial knowledge tests are available in English, Arabic, Chinese, Punjabi, Russian, and Spanish. All knowledge tests administered by the DMV that are required to be taken by a CDL applicant or cardholder must be taken using the automated knowledge testing equipment, AKTE. You must take one or more knowledge tests depending on what class of license and endorsement you need. If you are adding an endorsement but are not upgrading to a higher classification, DMV will waive all knowledge and endorsement tests completed or waived on the previous application, including hazmat. If the new application is started within 12 months of the previous renewal date of original CDL issued date. CDL knowledge tests include the general knowledge test, required to be taken by all applicants. The passenger transport test, required to be taken by all bus driver applicants. The air brakes test, required to be taken by drivers of vehicles with air brakes, including air over hydraulic brakes. The combination vehicles test, required if you want to drive combination vehicles. The hazardous materials test, required if you want to haul hazardous materials as defined in CFR Title 49, subsection 383.5. To obtain this endorsement, you must pass a Transportation Security Administration background check. The tank vehicle test. Required if you want to haul any liquids or gaseous materials in a tank or tanks having an individual rated capacity of more than 119 gallons and an aggregate rated capacity of 1,000 gallons or more that is either permanently or temporarily attached to the vehicle or chassis. A doubles triples test required if you want to pull doubles or triples. Triples trailers are not legal in California. School bus test required if you want to drive a school bus. The firefighter endorsement test required to operate firefighter equipment, not required but optional for Class A or B CDL holders. Note: allow for 2 to 3 hours if taking all tests. Your knowledge and or endorsement test will not be returned to you. That sucks. Don't you want to know if you pass or what? How come? I guess that's how they keep people, on their toes. They don't let you keep it so you can't share it and you can't, I guess, sell it and then make it easier for people to cheat. I guess that's what I see. But using of testing aids are prohibited. This is true. The use of testing aids are prohibited. The use of testing aids is strictly prohibited during the knowledge test. This includes, but is not limited to, the California Commercial Driver Handbook, cheat sheets, or electronic communication devices such as a cell phone, handheld computer, watch, etc. If any testing aids or a substitute test taker is used during the knowledge test will be marked as a failure. An action may also be taken by DMV against your driving privileges or the driving privilege of anyone else who assisted the applicant in examination process. That's some heavy duty stuff. Don't do it. During the vehicle inspection test, formerly known as a pre-trip, DMV does not allow the use of testing aids other than the vehicle inspection guide, section 11, in this handbook. If you are caught using anything other than the inspection guide, the commercial skills test will be marked as a failure. The use of electronic devices such as cell phones, Bluetooth, CB radios, Apple Watch, etc. is prohibited during the commercial skills test. In addition, people waiting in the testing vicinity are prohibited from using hand signals and shouting instructions. If this occurs, the test will be discontinued and marked as a commercial skill test failure. If markings are found on the vehicle being used for the test to help with passing the vehicle inspection or basic control skills test, formerly known as a skills test, included but not limited to writing on the vehicle, tape, paint markings on the curbs, or do not appear like they belong, or markings on the curbs, walls, or trees that would help the applicant maneuver the vehicle for the basic control skills test. The test will be discontinued and marked as a failure. The use of any recording devices, including a video event recorder, dash cam, is prohibited during any commercial skills test. A dash cam is a device that continuously records in a digital loop, recording audio and or video, but saves audio and or only video when triggered by an unusual motion or crash, or when the vehicle is operated to monitor driver performance. If the vehicle is equipped with a recording device, it must be powered off, or the visual and audio recording feature must be disabled. If the recording device cannot be powered off or disabled, which is typically for a CMV, the applicant must block the recording device so there is no visual and or audio recording during the road test. What if you have an accident? And what if it's not your fault? It's like slim chances, but still. So let's I'm gonna subsection this off. Skills test. Continued with skills test 1.1.2 on the next podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the support. Keep on trucking, and thanks for tuning in. Eyes on the road.